Hey Scrap Bosses, I'm back with another process video. This one is a design team layout for the Hip Kit Club. I used the September main kit, which actually is still available. If you want to head on over to the Hip Kit Club website to check that out, the links are posted down below. Here's a quick little review of the main kit. I did a full unboxing here on the Victoria Marie YouTube channel about a week or so ago, so you can check that out. So today I'm creating an 8.5 by 11 layout. That's a selfie that I took, and I'm wearing a really cool Harry Potter scarf, a Gryffindor scarf. So 10 points for Gryffindor. This layout, in fact, is not about that scarf or Harry Potter. It is more about me and motivating myself. I do scrapbook a lot about myself. I think that's important to include stories about yourself in your scrapbooking. All too often, our pages are about other people, our kids, our spouses, our friends, maybe even our vacations or whatnot. But we do need to make sure that our stories are all throughout our scrapbooks. Who better to tell your story than you, right? So I think that's very important that we continue to, and start to if you haven't begun, to document our interests, to document our feelings and our emotions and our interests and all those good things. And I do that regularly. Sometimes it's therapeutic. You know, today is one of those examples here in this layout. The title is called Darling, Just Believe in Yourself. It's better than what I thought. That's sort of the subtitle. And in the journaling, I talk about how hard it is sometimes to see that I'm doing good, I'm doing well, right? I'm not doing as bad as I think I am. And I think sometimes we need to motivate ourselves and remind ourselves that we're doing just fine where we're at. We're doing exactly what we need to do at this moment in life. And I have to remind myself of that because I do sometimes compare myself. I get into that comparison trap and I compare myself to others, both professionally and personally. And every now and then I have to remind myself to, stay in my own lane and do what I need to do and be good at what I do, but appreciate that I'm doing okay. So I have this 8.5 by 11 layout. I started with a piece of heavy white cardstock, and that actually came as a 12 by 12. That's basil cardstock. It's just beautiful and delicious and smooth and really, really heavy. I cut that down to 8.5 by 11. Then I took some pattern papers from the Indigo Hills 2 collection, that blue pattern paper, which is stunning, and then another gray pattern paper that I double mounted my photo with, and then also created a strip there to the left-hand side. Now I'm going to work with my title, and the die cuts and I think everything else I use on this layout are all from Pink Fresh Studio with the exception of one element, and I'll get to that in a second. So I had a die cut in the die cut pack. It says, Darling, Just Believe in Yourself, and then another label die cut that says this is better than I thought. And I decided to put those two together to create my title. And I love when there's opportunities to do this because it allows me to use my die cuts in different ways, use it as a title versus just an embellishment piece on my layout. And it gives a nice little different element there. I like it when it's all together. I have to do less work and I don't have to think about it. And particularly when it works well with my story, I'm all about it. Now, originally when I did this layout, a part of one of the pattern papers that I'm using on the B side had this gorgeous floral wreath, and I cut out the wreath and I didn't like it. So I decided to cut all of those individual floral elements, the flowers and the leaves mainly. And I'm going to create some clusters. So there towards the left-hand side of my title, I took some of those leaves from that pattern paper and fussy cut them, and I backed those behind the title. And then I also added a little flower with a little puffy dimensional, little foam dimensional, just to add some height there at the bottom, and the title's all done. I also had this floral die cut from the Pink Fresh Studio Indigo Hills die cut collection. There goes that Dream Cloud die cut. I decided to go ahead and get those layered up to the left-hand side. One of those floral clusters I had used on a previous layout, so I just used up the remaining piece of that. So that's always good when you can use up the things that you have. I went ahead and adhered that cute little cloud that says Dream. And then I added one of these thread bows, and I think that's by Maggie Holmes from the Willow Lane collection. I'm almost certain that is. And those bows are really cool. Usually I'm a bit hesitant to use things like that on the layout because sometimes I don't know how to use them. And the solution to that is just slap it on there and keep it moving, right? Don't overthink it. Here comes more of those beautiful leaves. They're sort of a watercolor design, and they're beautiful. So I'm just tucking those in so I can add a bit more interest to those clusters. Fill it out a little bit, which is really pretty. I'm going to add some more of these little floral die cuts and going to position those with some foam dimensionals to give them height. A little bit of dimension on the page. I have a kind of an orange coral one there at the top, and then a yellow one I thought I was going to position at the bottom, but I switched it up because I felt there needed to be a little bit more yellow at the top, a little less at the bottom of that cluster. I'm loving the way this comes together. Now, one of the things I like to do is I like to use different types of textures on my layouts. So I'm going to grab this wood piece here, this wood veneer piece, and that's from the Indigo Hills collection, but it's not going to stay. I'm going to end up taking that off and do something different here in a second. But whenever I can, I like to use different textures on my layout. So I'm taking a ruler. That is from Felicity Jane, actually. I got that, some of the last elements I got when I was on their design team. And this is perfect for adding journaling lines to a layout, so I pulled that out to use that. And the journaling reads, "It is very hard to see that I'm doing a good job. Sometimes I feel as though I'm spinning my wheels. But then I sit back and realize that I'm not only doing good, I'm doing great. I just have to believe in myself. You got this, Vicky." So a little bit of encouragement to myself to just keep on keeping on. All right, so I reached back into that die cut set by Pink Fresh Studio, Indigo Hills 2, and I pulled out another label that says Live in Wonder because I needed something else there. I needed sort of a horizontal element. And notice how that just changes the look of that layered cluster. Whenever you're not sure of something, go ahead and just put it down, maybe use some temporary adhesive, and set it down and see how you look because you don't know until you try it. So now I decided instead of putting that wood veneer piece there at the top, I'm going to take another label, and that one again from the same die cuts. And it says Collect Adventures, and then I added some more little flowers there at the top. And my layout is all done. I love the way this looks. I love the way that navy blue pattern paper just sort of breaks up the background, so I'm not having so much white space because that's not what I wanted for this layout. The title's great, the colors are great. I just really, really love this kit. For more information about the Hip Kit Club and all the wonderful kits that we have to offer, make sure you check out thehipkitclub.net. The link is posted down below. And be sure that you check out my informational video all about the upcoming Victoria Marie Patreon exclusive membership, available October 2018. And lastly, before you go, be sure you subscribe to the Victoria Marie YouTube channel if you haven't already. Where have you been? Click that bell indicator. That way you'll know every time I post a new video to this channel. Now you go and be creative.